Hello everybody, Pat Grosse here, and I thought I'd talk about the community entrepreneur part of my business. Now, the community entrepreneur came about simply because I realized one day, actually in my car driving, one of those aha moments, epiphanies, when I realized that many of my clients were award winners. It wasn't because I was the direct link, it's just that I was attracted to organizations with an entrepreneur in the mix. And that brought with it some problems that in many cases led to an implosion of the organization a few years later. So my posts following this video are around what those problems were that would lead from the star to the black hole. So what I wanted to do today is just to talk about what I do with, I work with committees of management or boards. And by working with boards, it's interesting the dynamics, because in many cases, especially the volunteer boards, they really don't understand what their purpose is. And they're very guilty of stepping into the operations. Or they may be volunteers in their own right, and they're on the board or on the committee. But they need to be switching their hats around, have this invisible hat stand. They can take one hat off and then put another hat on. So it's interesting to see the dynamics of these very, these really purposeful people that quite easily can get it wrong. I've seen boards or committees, I'll use the word boards, committees interchangeably, that have been made up of different combinations. A professional board for a small community group doesn't work. I've seen where professionals have not been happy from the outside and they've managed to find their way into the board, and they've destroyed the organization because they've not understand the culture. They've not understand the values of community or the sports club or whatever it may be. They've come in and their purpose is to make them more aligned to government policy. It doesn't work. So you always make sure you've got the right mix of professional. And I've seen it on the other extreme where it's been all community. In fact, it's been community to the extent that it might have been a board that's been stacked by the interest of the CEO or manager. The organization's purpose may be over here, the interest and passion of the managers over here. So they will actually tap people on the shoulder. There's meant to be a process. They'll tap people on the shoulder, put them on the boards with their interests over here, completely unaware of what they should be doing, which is over here. So we see a lot of board stacking. In fact, when I worked in my government role, we would hold a conference every 2 years. And I could guarantee that there will be a couple of organizations that will bring along their committee members, board members, and there would be an epiphany again by those board members halfway through the conference when they realized that what they were doing wasn't correct. So they would go back and there would be an almighty explosion, never mind an implosion, an explosion. And when that happens, sometimes that can affect the whole community. The whole community can get fractured, and I've seen that happen as well. So it can be a good thing, but it can also be a very dangerous thing if you get your committee wrong. So I work with committees. I start with induction, and the purpose of when they become new committee members, people should know what they're there for. Because otherwise they're going to be stepping into the roles of others, overstepping their boundaries, and it can be quite innocently done. Then there are others who are in there for their own agendas. So this is an example of the kind of people and the kind of nuances associated with running a not-for-profit. So over the next few posts, I'm going to give you some examples of the personalities of people in those organizations in positions of power that could make or break. So stay tuned for the first post.